The saints constitute the Lord's army. St. John of Damascus. Let us not forget that the Christian faith is in no ways a religion of pacifists. God's people entered the promised land with spears and swords. The holy and righteous prophet Joshua, in his own way a type of Christ, led the Israelites to victory against the Canaanites through his trust and faith in God. The wicked enemy was put to the sword with each city that fell almost ritually cleansed. So all the people making a shout and the trumpet sounding, when the voice and the sound thundered in the ears of the multitude, the walls forthwith fell down, and every man went up by the place that was over against him, and they took the city, and killed all that were in it, man and woman, young and old, the oxen also, and the sheep, and the asses. They slew with the edge of the sword. Joshua 6:20-21, Dewey Rheims, American, 1899. Our good and gracious, incomprehensible God, infinitely merciful and infinitely loving, gave out these orders that at first may seem like the opposite of love, yet all is part of his plan, and the Canaanites, being a wicked people, simply had to go. They sacrificed children and lived in sexual immorality. Their culture thrived on such depravity, alongside a true hatred for God. God's people, the Israelites at this time, were to be instrumental in bringing the Logos Jesus Christ, Son of God, into creation to free us of our distress, to trample death through death. They were, as John of Damascus puts it, in a stage of infancy. When taking the promised land, God could not allow them to mix and mingle with the Canaanites. They would fall into their customs and practices, having hearts of stone. So God righteously ordered these enemies to be put to the sword. What do we know of early Christianity's triumph? After centuries of martyrdom, persecution, and suffering at the hands of the pagan Romans, a man found himself in a civil war for the empire's throne. This was Constantine the Great, a brilliant leader and warrior who nevertheless was set to lose his next battle, to be crushed by a force far larger than his. Yet this would not be the case, as a vision came to Constantine in the sky, a vision of the Christian cross, and the future emperor and saint was told to go out and conquer in the sign of the cross. Adorning his men's shields with this early Christian monogram, Constantine set out and destroyed his enemies, defying all odds. With his victory, he gained the throne of Rome, where he would mandate tolerance for Christians with the Edict of Milan. The emperor would attribute his victories to the Christian God alone, getting rid of the pagan symbols from his coinage as he developed a trust in God, replacing them with symbols of Christ. With the church shattered by the Arian crisis, Constantine presided over the Council of Nicaea, which finally brought true centralization to the church. With trust in God and the sword, Joshua conquered the promised land. With faith in the true living God, who he didn't even know yet, and the sword, Constantine conquered Rome's throne and brought Christianity out of the catacombs.